Welcome back, everybody. Of course, Sports Federation TV, and as you know, we look after the federations in the Western Cape. Now, just before the break, I told you that we would be talking high performance. And of course, those of you that don't know, the idea of high performance South Africa is to go to district level, to provincial level, to national level, and then go to the Olympics, the Paralympics, and the World Champs, or wherever it is that we want to go compete as South Africans to get the gold medal, so to speak. With me now is Wayne Weitz. He's the general manager of WEXA, which is the Western Cape Sports Academy. Wayne Weitz, welcome to Sports Federation TV.
Good evening, JP, and thanks for having us.
You got your hands full. I mean, you got a massive responsibility. At the end of the day, when it all comes down to Gideon Sam from SASCOC says, how many Olympic medals are we going to get? And I know that he tends to say he's going to get it himself, but it's up to the federations to deliver those medals. But you've got a big responsibility in South Africa and, of course, in the Western Cape to find ways to make sure high performance works in South Africa. I mean, in Western Cape.
Yeah, JP, I think that's part of the bigger scheme. If we look at the South African context, we are the one part. There's the other 8 colleagues, 8 provinces, and we all funnel towards the national goal, which is making sure that South Africa competes and those athletes. So therefore, our role is very critical. But as the Western Cape Sports Academy, the role is more specifically towards our members, which is the federations. It's looking after their athletes, and therefore our role is then primarily confined to managing, coordinating, and assisting the federations.
But also not just any, I mean, you don't just have anybody. But hang on, before we get into that whole thing there, you mentioned the 8 provinces. Do you guys get together with the other provinces and you discuss high performance in South Africa? Does SASCOC tell you what to do, or how do you plan what you're going to do in the Western Cape?
Yeah, I think SASCOC after the AGM have reviewed in terms of 2016 performances at Rio. And I think as a board, the new elected board as well, there has been now the up in terms of that saying we need to review, we need to set new targets. Those targets are set with national federations, and then it cascades down.
What do you mean? What do you mean by a target? What is a target? I mean, are you talking about someone who has to run the 100 meters in under 10 seconds or something like that?
Yeah, there's each federation has specific targets. Yeah. So it is like in athletics, they say that the entry qualification was the 10.5, but now after reviewing, it's now at 9.89, and so that is how like, things has changed.
A little bit like matric. They changed the okay. Yeah. All right. Do these kind of rankings come out from a world level, or do we make it up ourselves down here?
No, it is from a world level. It's based on the international performances.
Okay.
That the international federations put this criteria down. It then cascade to their members, which is like in this case, our national federations. It takes further. In individual sports, it's more easier because you can see it. It's tangible. You know what you work towards. When a team situation, it is totally different.
Yeah, it's a bit harder to measure because you've got,
because each one has different aspects. If you look at the sevens, our national 7 team that competed for the first time at the Rio Olympics, and if we listened and we saw them, we could see that the ethos was built around the type of athletes that they were looking for, from athleticism, from the kind of discipline that has the code, the ethics, and it was numerous things before we even get to the actual skill level, which is the game, because that is teachable, but it's these other aspects that makes an athlete first and foremost before me being a rugby player.
I mean, that's quite deep. You know, we just keep thinking stopwatch, we always just think stopwatch, but behind the scenes there's a lot more, like you say, team spirit or gees.
Yeah, I think like at this juncture, as the Western Cape Sports Academy, you know that we are reviewing and we form within a national norm. So you're correct. It's that we were also given a task after the Rio Olympics, after the SASCOC met. It's that we meet quarterly basis where the country gets together. They look at these things, and federations come there. They look at what is happening, the performances of the athletes. And they ask, what is the programs that are in place? It's their programs that are then managed and assisted by the district academies and the provincial academies in each province.
Okay, let me break this down a little bit for me to understand, and also for the viewers to understand. And if you so if you're from a sports federation and you think, hang on, I've got I've got an athlete here that is really going to make it. Can they come and knock on your door and say, look, this is our athlete and we need help?
Yes.
I mean, how does it work? I mean, well, you can't obviously help everybody.
No, I think there is, nationally there's a norm set for us to be able to work with categorized codes.
Yeah.
SASCOC has categorized them in terms of A, B, and C, which is obviously priority codes. Now, priority codes is like your athletics, your swimming, and then they are categorized in terms of supporting.
Now, we get a lot of athletes, sorry, I'm going to keep interrupting you, but we get a lot of athletes out there, they don't belong to a federation, maybe they belong to a private academy, or they just train socially, they don't qualify for this.
There is talent ID programs like at this juncture that have started. So we do talent identification.
Yeah.
We find talent at the district at a very local community level. And at most times these talent that we find there don't belong
to a
federation, to a club, and as such to a federation. So we are the first custodians when you do a talent ID, that you find as talented athletes and you start taking them towards the federation, and you alert, and together we assist us in terms of that partnership.
Okay, so what does that mean? What is that kind of assistance? So it's interesting that you say that you actually go and scout for athletes out there who maybe don't know that there's a structure that they must belong to. So that's the first tick box, is that they are legitimate, because then they belong to a federation and they actually will then qualify. Because okay, so let's go now. So when we talk about, because I think a lot of people out there don't know that there is actually systems in place that supports athletes with talent and could make it big. What are the kind of support structures that you guys give them? I mean, do you help them with doctors, or do you put them in a gym, or anything? What is it?
I think the first thing that the federation normally do when you have this kind of, they as such with the coaches, the experts then look at the talent, they look at the athlete as the person, and they as such then design a program. And it can be for Wayne, the program would be that Wayne requires, coaching is the most obvious box to be ticked, because that's with all athletes, but Wayne requires this specific scientific, whether it's biomechanical kind of things that they need to look at more deeper sense, or whether it is, it looks as if Wayne, there is a thing, there's a problem probably physically, let's go and do an investigation. So it could be a medical. So it's dependent on how the coach that drives the program, they almost put us into that situation, and we, with our expertise, the experts that we have, then assist the coaches and the federations to take the athlete on a pathway so that we can see who is the person and what possibilities exist within the person. And in that aspect, we take the thing forward and make sure that we walk alongside, one, the federation, two, is the athlete, and to support, because it could be that the athlete is from, because from Bonteville, but because of the social happenings within Bonteville, it could be that this kid requires a lot of life skills, because it has the ability.
So you look at each athlete uniquely as an individual?
Yes, they have to be looked at in high performance. Each athlete are different. I think
you might eat meat and I'm a vegetarian, now you've got a whole different nutrition problem.
Because it's not one
shoe fits all.
It cannot happen in high performance.
So just tell us a little bit about the structures. I mean, there's 6 districts in the Western Cape. I believe you had a very successful academy in Eden. They seem to be operating well there. Academies underway now in the other districts also?
Yeah, I think this is with the provincial government and the South African, the National Department for Sport and Rec, and SASCOC. We were fortunate in terms of with the funding to launch in Eden, which is your Oudtshoorn, Knysna, George area. We've got a successful academy that looks after about 7 different codes, and there is a total of 31 athletes, looked after by a number of 20-odd coaches, ranging from athletics to cycling to boxing to football.
Quite a wide variety. Now, what's the idea? I'm assuming the idea is that as soon as they start getting better at district level, they go up to provincial level?
Yes, I think the way it's designed and structured is that we will ensure that the athletes move up as they progress, but the progression is based on performance.
Yeah.
So it is their performance targets that are set by the coach and the manager as such of the federation, and that's the progression that they go through, because it's a national federation that set the targets.
So once they then get into your space, at a district level, they come at the provincial level, what comes next? Do they then go somehow to a national academy?
There's a national academy.
Yeah.
Once you have met in terms of criteria, you're getting the support service, and your performances are excellent, and it's the norm of a national. At most, the athletes are then now taken up into the National Academy, which is based in Bloemfontein and supported by SASCOC and SRSA. And these athletes then need to be taken over continue with their national federation, but more in a particular space that then define more the athlete than in a definitive way, preparing them for that international preparation for competing.
All right. We've got 4 years to go before the next Olympics. Are you confident that we're going to pump a few Western Cape provincial athletes into the Olympic team in 4 years' time?
Look, the Western Cape has always been where we produced excellent athletes. In the last cycle at Rio, I think apart from team coach, the individual coach, athletics, we didn't have any competitors within the swimming fraternity, although we had our national coach there representing us. But from athletes' perspective, I think we are very targeted. Even as a board, we want to focus approach towards making sure that we make a difference to our athletes and that we honor them as such. And if it needs to be that they need to move along, that they are moved along, but that the Western Cape, not just particularly in disability sport, but also in the able body, that we will be able to produce more talented athletes, not just produce them, but make sure that they go onto the stardom, and that other provinces would not necessarily take them and then claim the necessary glory for it.
Yes, no, they stay in the Cape then.
They will
Western
stay.
Cape. All right, we're going to need to see some of those athletes, those Western Cape athletes and district athletes that are in your high performance structures. We need them on the show. We want to talk to them, give them publicity. Hopefully they get some sponsorship, make them famous, get the medals. We need them on the show.
We're at the right time, because that is what we need to do. It's not about us as administrators, it's about the athletes.
Yeah.
People in the Western Cape and in South Africa needs to see these young, up-and-coming, talented athletes, but the ones that are also there that have started their new cycle, that people can see who is the Bridget and who is these various athletes of us.
Give them some profile. Wayne, listen, thanks very much for joining us here on Sports Federation TV. Of course, we're going to keep having you on the shows on a regular basis and get the athletes on you. And good luck for 2017 as you start the process to build towards 2020.
Thanks very much, JP, and to the listeners as well, to the viewers. But I think just be supportive towards the athletes.
100%, yeah. Right, folks, that's in there you have your information now in terms of the provincial structures and high performance, and now you know firsthand that there are actually support structures in place for the athletes in the Western Cape. It's from a district level to a provincial level all the way to a national level. Right? The onus at the end of the day is on the federations to make sure that they recommend those athletes, because you can't expect the provincial structures, the leadership, to find an athlete if you haven't told us about the athlete. So make sure that you present those names through to Wayne and through to the district academies so that they can get into the national structures, and hopefully we'll get some Olympic medals. That's what we're looking for. Right, that's a wrap from us here in this segment. Coming up after the break, the president of SASCOC, Gideon Sam, by popular demand.